Wait.
Boom. There we go. Should
Awesome,
should
man.
work now. I don't know. YouTube gives sometimes they have problems with servers, but I hope it
Yeah.
uh I hope it works. Anyways, we have you back, man. How many times
Dude.
you were on this podcast already? Like this is your third time or something? I can't remember.
Um, I don't know, man. I think I remember doing it once, like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, you did that a year ago. Oh yeah, you were like one of the OGs from the very first days when I was
yeah.
starting. You were like on the first, no, not on the first, like on the fourth or something. You came
Oh
in.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was when you
Man.
started. Oh, dude, that was when you were starting. That's when you were starting brainstorm.
Yeah,
That's
man.
when I
Damn.
had you. Yeah, that's the first time you were on
The
the podcast,
very
man.
the very very first time, right?
Yeah, the very
Oh
first
my
time.
God.
How many years
Yeah,
ago was that, dude?
dude, that was I want to say that was probably 2014 and or 2014, maybe 2015, and I was like, dude, Mache, I don't even know how you're doing this, man. What is this like live streaming thing? And I was honestly just kind of relying on you. I was like, dude, I'm so bad with this tech stuff. So I was like, just do you. I'll follow.
Yeah, man, it's freaking time is flying, man.
Oh,
I
jeez.
think I was just starting with the union, and you were like you started this group on Facebook and then turned into a school. Man, fucking time is
Yeah.
flying. I can't believe how many years? Like 3 years, 4 years now. It's
Um,
insane.
let's see. Me and James Pake, we officially launched in 2015. Um, we wanted to kind of get into like we just wanted to just teach like our own class. We just wanted to try it out, and I think that was like the first year we launched it was 2015. Um,
Hmm.
and it was funny how it started off because we were at my wedding. He came down and we were just like hanging out, and he was like, "Hey man, do you want to try this thing? And should we just try like launching a physical class and see how it goes?" And I was like, "Dude, let's just do it." No concept of like how big, this could become. It was just more like, let's
Right.
just try it, like who cares if it fails? It's all good.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Like you will just like
exactly.
you can just always quit and say like, "Up, it didn't work out. At least I tried," you know?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think with that idea, it was easy for us to just kind of just give it a shot
Yeah.
and really just kind of see where it goes. And honestly, it was a huge learning experience because um, we found out a lot about like I respect and appreciate all the other schools and
No,
like
man,
Kevin
fuck
Chen
them.
at CDAs. I was like, dude, those guys are crazy, man. Like they are fucking gangsters, dude. Like I mean, just like like from an outside point of view, like looking in, I was like, oh man, how hard could it be? No, dude, it's fucking insane.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
insane, man.
You guys have a physical school. It's not like an online endeavor, which is slightly different, when
It's
you run
different.
it online.
Yeah. I mean, it's they both have their difficulties or their challenges. Because I look at your school with what you did with Ash, and I'm just like, dude, that is so badass, man. Like I wouldn't even know like I don't even know how you guys did that, man. It's so clean, dude. Everything is so pro.
We just
And
decided not to buy Bugattis.
exactly.
Just drown all the money into a website
Yeah.
and the whole system. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been quite a road, man. For us
Oh
as well.
man.
It's you know how it is when you run a business for the first time. I mean, that's really my first legit business where I run it with people and do it as like a business person, and make those decisions and deal with everything that happens every day.
Right.
All the problems that appear from the business side, and the things you learn when you set up payment systems. Like what, like you have to
Yeah.
actually withdrawal percentage for this and that. Like there's so many things you learn. Like you assume simple things. Like you assume like, oh yeah, like we're gonna make this and then we're gonna charge that and then from there we're gonna make that much and let's just figure out what's the right pricing for everything
Right.
and
Right.
everything seems to be so straightforward and then at the end of the year it's like, oh, you guys didn't account for those expenses and you're in red for this and
Oh
that. Like,
man.
oh,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And you just learn like really quickly what it entails. So
Dude,
um
that's the part where like I would fall on my face if I didn't have James, because James is he's my big brother, you know. He's just like the guy. He's like, yeah, man, just I'll take care of it, and he does things, and I'm like, what is happening, dude? Like that this the guy is he's a man of like many skills, and he wears many hats.
oh,
Um,
nice.
but like
It's
how
good to have a
I
person
guess
like that, dude.
yeah, no,
Not
he's
only artists.
yeah, no, he's
Artists are horrible
yeah.
businessmen.
For me, like he's definitely like this perfect balance of of business, marketing, and artists, like kind of combined into one. So it's I've learned a ton from him. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like from the age of like 20, like I think that's when I first met James. And he's always been a mentor, and I always looked up to him. And to be able to be in business with him is just kind of an all inspiring experience for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just really looking forward to, you know, like seeing how far we can push this thing. So
Yeah, man, you guys came along pretty well so far. I mean,
yeah, man.
I've been observing where it started and where you guys are right now, and obviously we can go into a little more details on your journey.
Yeah.
But I can say
Thank
like,
you.
dude, it's it's you guys are just basically r- full respect, man. Like full respect for the work you guys are doing because I know it's hard to run something that's online. I just cannot imagine um, having a brick and mortar kind of
Right,
school,
right.
because it's just like
I mean, you know,
just thinking about rent would give me
I
a heart stroke. You know?
yeah, I know, right? Because you're like, oh my God, we need to really, you know, pay the rent at the end of the month, and you know, we got to think about utilities and furniture.
Yeah,
I would say the one thing that made us, I guess, kind of function well outside of like just teaching, is really just the community of students. I feel like that's the part that I like kind of going to school. I'm like, oh damn, these guys that are with us at the school they're so hardcore, you know?
yeah,
And it just kind of reminds me of like when I was in school, like you had kind of those groups of guys that you would see on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and you would kind of share the same struggles, and to have that it's like, they've created their own community, and that's something that I'm just like, that's what our school's about, outside of all the classes. Because to be fair, I mean, your school, you guys have fucking amazing courses. I mean,
thanks,
I
dude.
look at it and I'm like, dude, this is so pro. And I'm trying to free up some time so I can learn from you guys as well. But that was a blessing in disguise for our school. It was just like, man, it's really the students that make up the physical school for us. So
I think students make up for any school, really. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
looking at the community and what community adds. Like without students, you don't have a school. Let's just
yeah,
make it simple
exactly,
like that. You
exactly.
can make courses and sell them, and that's one way of doing things. But at the end of the day, it's your students that are the bread and butter of what you're doing. So
Yeah, sure.
um, I think you had that. I mean, you've been teaching longer than I've been teaching. I think you did some courses before. I came to scene with teaching. But you know how it is, like when you do a material and then you talk with students and then you learn from students at the end of the day. Like, oh, like
Right.
out of this whole experience of me creating a curriculum and talking with students, and then having, whether it's mentorship experience or having them one on one, or just releasing a course and then having feedback from people, you kind of learn, all the things that you assume and all of the things that you've been assuming that might be wrong. Like, there's just so many things that happen along the way,
Yeah,
when you're creating a class, or even just the
absolutely.
fact when you're creating a class and then you realize, like, hey, wait a minute, um, I need to fucking go back to the basics, because I'm trying to teach something here, and I don't even understand what I'm trying to teach.
Dude,
Just like muscle
it
memory, huh?
forces, yeah, dude, it forces you to double check your kind of what you're spitting out.
Yeah.
And it's just mad respect. Like I feel like as I've taught classes over the years, the hardest thing to teach are the basics.
Oh,
Um,
tell me about
it's
it.
like insane. Like I'm like I can teach you how to like paint this stuff that you see on the screen here, because it's just more like technique and process.
Yeah.
Um, but I would not know how to teach someone perspective or like basic stuff, because that stuff is as simple as it seems. It's so technical and there's so many rules that you need to really just know. And that just makes me look at guys like Scott Robertson like in a different light, dude. I'm like, those guys are truly like they're like one of the best teachers, man.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah,
Scott is an inspiration on a whole other level.
yeah,
Yeah, like
he's
anything he
insane.
does, like whether it's his researches and whatnot, is like, whoa, like your brain is functioning in a completely different level.
Yeah.
I agree with you, man, because it's just like when you teach a technique, and when you go over, tools you're using or your workflow, it's like it's very natural to you, because you're just
Hmm.
explaining how you do things and how you think about doing those things. But
Yeah.
when you try to explain things like perspective or lighting, that's why I'm having like a big struggle creating my next class, because I really want to do it like more grounded, and
Hmm.
more with, just give like a proper pathway of learning towards more advanced stuff, so you
Hmm.
not only just see the process that I work with or tools that I use, but also like what are the roots of everything that I already know. And then in order to get there, like you have to actually kind of go back to the very beginning of your career or your learning experiences, and sort of like revisit and relive the whole
Yeah.
thing and try to
Yeah.
explain how you've learned it. And it's like, that means how how to figure out what I was thinking 15 years ago.
Oh man, dude. Do you still have any like notes or like some of the lectures that you learned from school or
Dude, I
anything
had
like
no
that?
school, man. What
Oh,
are
I
you
know you.
saying?
Yeah, that's right. You're like self-taught. You
I
were a
was
plumber,
winging
dude.
it. I was winging it. I was
Dude,
like,
that's crazy, man. That's hardcore.
let's go on Sejun and see what people are doing there. Get inspired and depressed at the same time,
Yeah.
and then from there, maybe I'll learn something. There was a different energy back then, man. Like, I'm
Oh
looking
man,
back at time, and um, fuck, just like
that's crazy, man.
I'm looking at some of the work that I've done, like let's say 10 years ago when I was learning. Right, it's not my best work, or whatever, but the volume of the things that I was doing, like, where the fuck did I had energy for that? Like, I had a motivation and energy and everything to do all those things, and now it's just like I almost in some cases feel jaded about things, and I really need to be super inspired to to move on
Right,
and do
right.
something else, right?
What was the thing that motivated you to kind of get into concept art? What was like the first stepping stone?
Oh, I can tell you, not fucking cleaning toilets to begin with. You know how it is, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
I really didn't have a choice, personally. I mean, I think I told this story many times. I come
yeah.
from like super poor family, so I didn't have any choice. Because you went, you have artists in your family, right?
Yeah, I mean, my dad has some art background. He used to. I mean, he ran like a frame store
Right.
for like 15 plus years, and you know, he's had some art training, so it was easier for me as an Asian dude, you know, like because you know Asian people don't believe in art, or their parents don't believe in art, you know.
Right.
Um, so it was I got a lot of support from him, and you know, it also helped that my brother, he actually studied industrial design at Art Center.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I got introduced into the program at Art Center. But I mean, dude, I was bad at everything else, man. I mean, my like academically, I was a straight C minus student, you know?
Hmm.
So I had no other route. So that was kind of my motivation, was to really work hard at this.
Right.
But it's really, I'm really curious to hear about like people's motivation, like why they got into art in the first place. And you know, sometimes it might be, you know, they saw, you know, an art book, or they met an artist, or you know, they played a game or a product, or you know,
Yeah, how was it
and
for you? Like, apart from having parents that apparently, you know, were good enough to support you, you know?
oh man, I would say I grew up watching, you know, cartoon shows, but The Simpsons was always my favorite, from like storytelling and just
Right.
the amount of like characters. And I thought like art, I thought that kind of art was only just animation. So
Mm.
my mom, like, she was awesome. She found like an animation school for me to try out when I was younger, and I fucking sucked at it, dude. It was the worst experience. It was so discouraging because I'm like, I can't do this. Like, if I can't do this, then I'm gonna have to start actually, you know, I have to be a typical Asian and actually study be good in school, you know?
Learn
And that
piano and
yeah, that's not gonna happen, dude. I'm like the worst type of Asian that you can ever meet.
you're like very, very un-Asian.
Very un-Asian, man. Like just there's a lot of judgment. Like a lot of Asian parents, when they met me when I was younger, they were like, no, 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 no. I can't have my son look like that and be like that. No way. You know, like, cause I was a punk, man.
Dude, that whole culture that you guys have, I mean,
Yeah,
just coming here to US
yeah.
from where I come from, like just it was a huge culture shock for me. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
just learning everything, like your um like very clear divisions between cultures, even though it's like one big melting pot of different cultures, and
yeah,
everything seems to work together really well, but there
yeah.
are very clear divisions. You can tell that those stereotypes that you hear about people, there's some truth to that, and there's also some history that is sometimes very vile
Yeah, man.
that is related to it. And it's just
It's
like, wow, like you know, the culture that I come from is very rich as well. I mean, we've went through like fucking thousands of years of shit,
yeah.
but it's never been, you know, race related. Like
Right,
it's
right.
all white. It's all fucking people that just didn't have enough sun, so
Yeah.
they couldn't develop the melanin to be, you know, different color basically. Because I mean, our, we are all originally as humans coming from Africa, so let's
Yeah.
just that sink in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like coming here is just like learning all of those things, like huge culture shock, huge, and it's just like very difficult to. For me, it was very difficult to actually uh, adjust to it. You know, just
Mhm. Mhm.
understand you know, how to behave in some certain situations, because like you learn things, and when you're here for like a month or so, you quickly learn, okay, yeah, okay, I understand why things work specifically that way, why people act that way, why people get offended for A, B, or C, right?
Right,
Because
right.
you start to understand like the culture and the history, and you know, all some of those things that, oh, okay, that makes absolutely a lot of sense why you should never say this or that or do this or that, right?
Right.
Whereas in
That's
my
pretty
country, it's
interesting.
like nobody gives a fuck
Yeah.
because everyone
Yeah.
is, you know, is very homogenous, or
Right,
was
right.
most of the time. So it's like you learn those things as a culture shock. So it's funny because like you're explaining those things and you talk about, you know, your family and how un-Asian you feel, and then to me it's like it is still a little bit of culture shock, but I, you know, I've been here enough to understand and
Right,
sort of
right.
like get the joke behind it too. So
Yeah. I mean, all the way down to like the stereotypes of Asians can't drive. I mean, honestly, dude, Asian people cannot drive, man. I mean,
Okay, so
it's true. And
right in front of my house, there was this Asian lady that just decided to let go of like the parking fucking the stationary parking when you
oh
turn
yeah.
off the engine, and the car was on the slope, and she opened the door
Oh,
and tried to
dude.
push the car up
Oh no.
because she figured like, okay, like I can release the parking thing and just
Oh
push the
no,
car into
dude.
a garage. You know what happened.
That's insane. No.
Yeah, so
Oh, dude. That's not good. That's
no,
not good
yeah.
at all.
Anyways, we're going off topic. So you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
yeah. So you got so obviously animation is not art. Like not art. What the fuck am I saying? I'm so tired. It's a different craft.
Yeah.
It is art, especially watching fucking anime and the old ones. How Ghibli Studio was making anime, and you understand why animation is art, or even Disney.
Yeah, yeah. And
But it's a different craft than concept or illustration, man.
it is. I mean, I don't think I understood what concept art was until I got into art center. Because I was studying product design, so that was kind of
Right.
my my that was kind of like my headspace for doing art. And when I met Scott Robertson, and I was like, oh dude, this guy draws freaking amazing vehicles and spaceships, and I thought it was for funsies. I didn't know that that was a real thing. And the more I learned about the industry, I was like, oh dude, people do this for a living. And so, I mean, I'm sure everyone that's listening, and everyone that people that you've interviewed, you've probably had this conversation. But that's kind of how I was introduced, and it really piqued my curiosity even more to dive in more and more.
Yeah.
Um, I have like an off-topic question, and I guess it's more about um, kind of like work ethic or like habits. Like, how do you how do you work, man? Like, how do you schedule your time from doing personal work to professional work and hanging out with family and friends? Like, how do you balance that out?
I can tell you how I used to do it because now it's all upside down. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, well, one of the things that it worked for me really well until when you get when you start to have family, and then when you get to have kids problems to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
then everything is um, very fluid, and then you cannot like how it is. You
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
kid as well, and like there's some certain things that you are planning for, and then a family thing happens, and then you're like, I have to scramble now
Yeah.
to make things work.
Right.
And I think the biggest I've said this when I was at THU. I had this on my talk and during the QA, and then whoever was talking with me, I was talking about that topic as well. Like there's certain things that just throw you off the sort of like your productivity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and after a while, you just become tired and like unproductive. You feel like you're unproductive.
Right.
I think that's why you're asking, because you feel like you might be feeling like, holy shit, like I'm seeing all of those people doing all those awesome things, and I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that way too, man. Like today, for past, honestly, I feel like last 4 months just went like fucking no time. They
Yeah.
just flew by, and I've done nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. No work.
Like,
Like I've obviously done some work and try to keep things in place and everything,
yeah.
but I had no motivation to do anything past what's necessary. And that's because at certain point there's just like, I don't know, it's if it's age or if it's you're burning out. I think there's a point where you just have to stop and take a step back and sort of like
Mm-hmm.
relax and do something else.
Right,
Just
right.
to And I think the sooner you realize you need a break, the better. Because if
Yeah.
it's too late, then you burn out so much that you need like a long, long break.
Oh, totally,
I
totally.
honestly, um, I had this project that I did for Ridley Scott that was a highlight, I think, for past couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of projects here and there, like small ones. I've worked like way less. I've done way less production work and work in general this year than last year for sure. Like
Yeah.
at least
Right.
twice less work, and I still feel like I've wasted a lot of time, and I don't know where the fucking time is going.
Huh.
And I think it might be related
Wow.
to the fact that you know you get older and then you burn out and you get in a rot. Like there's just things that just multiply and fucking compound on you, and you feel like there's no way out sometimes. But
Right. Right.
also the fact that you're getting older, you might also mean that you're not having the same energy like let's say 5 6 years ago. I can
Right.
tell you
Right.
that right now I have way less energy to do things that I used to have. Let's say 6 7 years ago, and also there's a point where like you set up yourself for specific goals, and every other goal that you set yourself up for is exponentially more difficult because
Right.
like incremental changes. I don't know if it's my character or not, but incremental changes do nothing for me. You know,
Hmm. Interesting.
like for instance, for I started with I wanted to be an artist, right? And then
Right.
from there I wanted to work in video games, and then from there I want to work for like the best studio in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
or consider like a really good studio in Europe. And then I want to move to US and work for the best studio in US, and I was lucky enough to get the Naughty Dog. And then
Right.
I want to get a green card and work in films. And then I want to work for like fucking um, award-winning directors, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like all of those goals I grinded for and I reached eventually, right? Well, it's just like fucking insane amount of work. You know how much work it takes to get there.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Um, and now it's like, what's next?
That's interesting.
Like,
It sounds like, you had like your motivations obviously
yeah, it's lower
kind of
right now. So if
well, I mean, I guess I was gonna say it was like your motivations have changed, in the course of like when you started
yeah, oh
to where you're
hell
at
yeah,
now. I mean, I don't think it's lower. I mean, I want to be an optimist and say like maybe it's shifting, into something different. Um,
definitely. How it is for you? Like, did it work for you the same way, or did you have like different approach to?
I don't know, man. I've you know what my motivation was for getting into any project or any film. Like, I mean, right now I got a chance to work with Kang Lee on Hawken, and I didn't care for the robots. I cared to work with him as an artist and as a
Right.
person, and that was my goal. We could have
Yeah,
worked
Kang
on
is awesome.
ponies. Yeah, like I could have worked on like a pony game and I would have been completely happy because it was just a chance to be able to work with someone of that caliber, and just his creativity was just like it was a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
And I guess my that's kind of like been always my motivation wherever I went. Like even on Avatar, I've been there like I guess almost like 3 years. It's like 3 years, 10 months now. 10 months.
Some insane amount of time
Yeah,
unheard
man.
of in the film industry.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. But when I took the job, I knew that Steve Messing was there, Dylan Cole and Ben Proctor,
Oh yeah,
and
the dream team.
Fausto, and David Levy, and I just heard those names. I'm like, dude, yes, I need to go there. Like, yeah, the project's cool, man. But I mean, I think if you're on anything longer than a year or two, like it can feel repetitive. But
Even
to be able to work with those guys, it never felt old. It was just like I'm like, dude, I still don't know how those guys do it, man. It's insane. Like I still don't get it.
yeah.
And and uh,
Just to interrupt you real
mhm.
quick, I hate to do that, but I just want to point out, yeah, it's absolutely fucking true, man. Working with people versus projects, like after you do one or two films,
Yeah,
everything else, like every other film is like, oh, this is a cool project, but what's cooler, like this new freaking sci-fi design that I'm gonna do with
right,
a
right.
random person, or working with the badass artist that I can do dick jokes with, and I can have a lot of fun and have like time to remember.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I mean, I think working on projects that you love and you dream of, like, yeah, dude, do that, like go for that. But like for me, it's always been working with the artists. Like I've always had more of a like a fanboy attitude. I honestly get nervous around artists than I do actors and directors. And like so when I met like Dylan Cole, Steve Messing, and Ben Proctor, I was like shaking at my knees, man. Like I mean, obviously I'm kind of like, yeah, man, trying to act all cool. I'm like, yeah, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I'm gonna be working with you, but I'm just like, holy shit, I look like an idiot, dude. These guys are amazing. And now the team's just gotten bigger. We got, well, we have Nick Gendro,
Oh yeah,
Seifel,
baby
Jonathan
Nick.
Berube. Yeah, dude, Nick is like insane, man. James Chung, Finian, and Jonathan Bach. He joined us about 2 years ago, and dude, he's insane. I love working with that guy. That guy's probably one of my favorite designers, just in terms of like thinking and problem solving. And it's just I'm just kind of like surrounded by these giants, like that are all geniuses in their own way.
Yeah.
And I'm just like that's the only reason why I've kind of continued to stay on, for me, like
This is an
and
awesome crew, by the way. Like, I
it's
know
fucking
Jonathan.
dope, dude. It's yeah. Jonathan's like yeah. I mean he's insane.
Which
Like his
reminds me, by the way, we're pretty close. We should fucking get a dinner or lunch
yeah,
sometime soon,
man.
finally. Because we're like literally
Yeah,
fucking.
we have no excuse, man. I could probably throw a rock and hit your window, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Jeez.
Let's do that this week, man. Or next
Yeah,
week. Let's do it
let's
this week.
definitely yeah, let's definitely get together. I think we should. It
There's no
needs
excuse,
to get
man.
done. It needs to get done. Yeah,
But anyways, yeah.
I've been saying that about getting dinner with Aton, and I literally when I look at my chat box, it's been yeah, let's get dinner, dude, and it's literally like 3 years ago I said the same damn thing. It's so fucked up, man, because we make all these promises and it just gets pushed. We just got to do it.
Because you have priorities, man. Like getting
Yeah.
like you know how it is. It's like you move to be close to the ocean and you never go to visit the ocean, and then you
Ah,
move
damn.
out to like the middle of a country, and then you crave it and use all your vacation time to be near the ocean. You know how it is.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Do you go to the beach because you live so close? I mean, do you
No,
feel like you utilize it?
no, dude. I spoke to I
Wow,
mean,
that's so funny.
John Sweeney, and Aton used like when we were at Naughty Dog, they've been living together like they were roommates in Santa Monica,
Yeah.
and they were like literally on the ocean. And I asked them like, how often you go to the beach, and they're like, never, dude. You can literally open your door and you're at the beach. Like what the
That's
fuck?
insane, dude. That's awesome. Holy
They were
shit.
like so close, and like yeah,
Wow.
it's I guess fucking I don't care.
Oh man. No, I don't have that luxury at all. I live in Chino, so I have cow shit. That's the air, that's my environment. I mean, yeah, I just
I
can't, yeah.
I fucking admire you for your commute because it's insane.
No, it's retarded. It's
How
not good.
long it takes you to get here? 2 hours?
Um, yeah, if I were to leave at a proper time, and I say proper meaning when you're supposed to be at work at like 9, it takes me about maybe 2.5 hours. But
That is so fucked up.
yeah, but Dylan, Steve, and Ben, they knew that, I was gonna basically pass out and die. So they were like, you know what, you've been here long enough. We trust you. So why don't you come in later and stay later? So I was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, thank you. That cuts my driving time by like an hour, so I can get to work within like an hour because everyone's already at work by the time I get in. But it's far, man. It's not it's not ideal to live out here.
Yeah, for those who don't know how LA works, I mean right now it's pretty much rush hour whole day.
Yeah,
It's way different than like even 4 years ago was not so bad. Now it's fucking
yeah,
insane. But
man.
if you get to drive during the rush hour, which is basically in LA would be anywhere between 7 a.m. till 11 a.m., right? And then already like today, like these days, already starting at 2:30 p.m. till like 8, 9. That's when the rush hour is. So
Yeah.
pretty much fucking 24/7.
Yeah.
That means like your commute, that whatever, let's say it takes you half an hour to get from point A to B, it can take you like up to 2 hours if you get stuck in a traffic. It's fucking
Dude,
insane.
that's yeah, audiobooks, man. I mean that's why I'm really rooting for you know all the smart cars and Elon Musk, like, because then I think if you have like self-driving cars, which may happen, you may be perfected in the next like 20 30 years, you know, after
Yeah.
a lot of deaths and accidents. Uh,
I
then
think it's gonna be sooner than that. I mean,
I hope so, man. It looks
honestly,
awesome.
I don't know if you've ever tried any of those, smart features in some of the newer cars, but there's already features that, prevent you from leaving your lane, and
Yeah.
like some of the cars, you just press a button and like it will read how far you're from the car, and it will just
Hmm.
keep you like you don't have to use gas or stop. It will just
Hmm.
automatically accelerate and deaccelerate, and it's just a matter of getting it to a point where it just smart reads um, the traffic and understands everything. But I mean,
Right, right.
look, you have Google Images, right? You just drag and drop an image into Google, and it will find you similar images, and it will understand what the fucking image is. Like you will,
Yeah.
even in the painting, like you drag and drop a painting. There are certain times where it just like understands that there's a person, and will find similar photos of a person. It understands that what's in the fucking photo.
Yeah.
So like the AI is already smart enough to do that, right? I've said that before. I mean, you've read about this experiment that Facebook did, right, with the AI.
No, no, no. I haven't
So
heard.
Facebook did this experiment. I fucking people gonna kill me for saying it so many times. I think I've been mentioning it like 6 times now.
All
But
right.
just for you, man, just for you. They
All
did
right.
like they had this two programs, two AIs that they just decided to like start make them communicate with one another and see how this communication will go. And I think in a matter of minute, those two softwares invented their own language and started communicating in the language that the programmers couldn't understand.
What?
And I was like, all right, let's just fucking turn it off right now.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah,
What?
in a matter of minutes, you know,
No way.
they just started talking like fucking gibberish. They programmers couldn't understand, so they figured
That's
like, oh,
scary,
they're
dude.
talking their own language, and it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, yeah, it's
That's
scary as
scary,
fuck,
dude. Whoa. All right.
dude.
Dude,
Like
that's gonna be dope.
esports are changing too. Like there's, there have been those videos out there. I don't know if you had a chance to see them, but like I think they were testing Dota.
Mm-hmm.
They took like the best players from Dota
Yeah.
and put it against AI, and fucking I think after a couple of tries they just couldn't beat the AI, no matter how hard it
Wow.
tried. Like the AI would
That's
just
nuts.
outsmart, because there's infinite computing power.
Yeah, and they probably remember all of
Oh yeah,
the instances and everything. Because I'm a huge Dota player.
yeah.
So I can only imagine.
There's this
Wow,
difficult
that's
game
crazy.
that they've been testing AI on against players. I can't remember the name of that game, but it's like this very difficult game. Can't remember the name of it, but
Mm-hmm.
they've created AI. They only gave it rule set, like what are the rules of the game, and in a matter of I think 10 tries, the AI became unbeatable
Wow.
because it learned
That's
from
crazy.
learning the rules, and then kept learning by playing with itself. I think from what I remember reading, like again, like it's all anecdotal. You just fucking Google it yourself. You'll find this information's out there. But yeah, it's like it learned from playing against itself and just became unbeatable in the game. Some
Jesus, man,
fucking insane shit. So
that's creepy, dude.
yeah, AI is creepy, man.
Holy
AI will
shit.
fuck you up. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm 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 fascinated, but also scared at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Dude, we're
Dude,
fucking jumping off topic all the time, but
I know.
it's
It's
all
all
good.
good.
So
Well,
good.
let me give some context to like what people might be seeing on the screen. So these were some demos that I recorded in class, and I was just kind of showing my students kind of the process in which I go about generating these images, and oftentimes a lot of this stuff, they're studies. They're not really like
Yeah.
my own invented images, but it's more about just kind of blocking in shapes, using certain tools, understanding when to use a soft edge and a hard edge, and just having a painting process, having a recipe that works for you,
Yeah.
uh, and just to get a bit more confident in your painting. So that's kind of what everyone was seeing. So the first one was like a Berkey inspired study, and this one here is my own kind of my own the image. It's like my own like satellite image that I did on the left, and I'm just showing
Studying
um,
yourself, huh? Getting
studying
to that
myself.
level.
Yeah, kind of like, oh well, this is
I'm
how
so
John would
good.
do it.
I'm so
Yeah,
good I can study myself today.
it's retarded, dude. I was kind of embarrassed to show this because someone was like, could you show us how to do this? And I was like, oh yeah. And I talked about it, and they're like, could you actually paint it? And it's weird, man, because I see a lot of mistakes in my own work.
Wait, so you color pick your own images? What?
Yeah, dude, that's cheating.
That's
I
cheating.
if I can't color pick, I'm colorblind, man. I'm like the worst.
I think the
Uh,
most important question would be, what brush do you use?
yeah, I know, right? I
Right.
actually I will troll my students, and I'll kind of give them like a serious answer. I'm like, dude, you have to use this brush. If you don't use this brush, you can't paint like Jamie Jones or Craig Mullins. And they're like, oh, damn, okay. But like later on, they're like, oh, you're full of shit. And I'm like, I know, I totally am, dude. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh man. So how did you I gonna jump back to the original topic cuz that was fascinating. Like how did you find out about Art Center? What
um,
did you just
I
randomly come across it or what was that?
it was from my brother. My older brother was attending there. And he's
Oh, okay.
he's yeah, so he introduced me to the school. But I saw it as more of a I thought they just did industrial design, so product and
Mm.
transportation design. And it wasn't until I got more involved with what they do, I found out about like, you know, illustration program, and then when I actually got accepted into the school, that's when I had Scott Robertson as one of my first teachers.
Right.
So and I've seen him on Newman DVDs, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! This guy's the real life version of what I've seen on the TV, and I found out that he actually specialized in doing concepts for video games and film. So that's kind of how I found out about Art Center and everything else along with it.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like I think the biggest problem for a lot of artists when they start thinking about like art in general is
Uh-huh.
like the lack of idea where to start.
That's hard. That's
Yeah,
really hard.
because like if you
Yeah.
come across like let's say if you come across your work or if you come across Jamie John's work or there's so many artists right now out there. It's
Yeah.
very easy to come across something really good, but if you come
Mm-hmm.
across someone's work and you're like, "Holy shit, that's awesome." And then you accidentally see that person painting or something and talk about what they do, that's
Mm-hmm.
when you learn, okay, this is an actual thing you can do and do it for the living. So
Yeah.
you get that knowledge firsthand, like especially today, like it's so easy with social media and with Facebook and YouTube and everything. There's just the knowledge is out there for you. If you don't
Yeah.
have to look for it, you can even stumble upon it. Sometimes it's difficult because people don't even know where to look,
Right,
and
right.
that can become a problem, obviously. But
I think
um,
I think it's becoming a lot more like people are being a lot more informed now,
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe due to YouTube. But man,
Oh,
I have
definitely, dude.
I
Social
have
media
some
and YouTube are changing the industry. I mean,
yeah.
look at ArtStation. Look what happened to ArtStation. I I can guarantee you, if ArtStation started during Siegen time, it would it would it would not get as big as it is until today.
Oh
It
yeah,
would be pretty
totally.
big. It would be pretty. I mean, CG Talk was pretty good, pretty big at the
Yeah.
time, but it's never been so big as ArtStation is right now. Um, and they just like they just started at the right time, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
because right now everything is so available. It's so easy to find out about it, but um,
That's true. Like I have some students. One of the youngest students that I had a chance to teach at Brainstorm was 16, dude. Dude, this guy was in high school, like in the
wow.
middle, and he was so good. I even I was just kind of like I wasn't that good until I was like 25, and this guy's already that good. And I just had to ask him like, dude, where did you like how'd you learn this stuff? And he's like, oh man, I've just been watching YouTube videos, and I first came across Fengzu's his FZD like tutorials, and then from there he just kind of found everyone else's content and just started learning like a madman.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, you're so ahead of the game. It's gonna be insane in the next like 5, 10 years. There's gonna be all these guys just out of nowhere just killing it.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, isn't it? Like you have
Yeah.
all those kids that we're sharing knowledge with, and they'll just make us unemployed very soon.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it it's one thing that I like I've talked to a lot of guys about that, and and maybe you can shed some light on this is you know because we're both part of the educational field, right?
Yeah.
And we're obviously giving back, and we're teaching a lot of stuff that would be very difficult to come by. um but do you feel that it's saturating the market in a bad way? Do you feel that
I don't
by
think
doing
so.
this?
I
So
think it's
that's
a natural progression. You know, you're gonna have it's 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 at the point where it's balancing itself. Um, but the truth is, like, we don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5, 10 years. It's so hard to predict where those things
so
are going.
that's an interesting thought, because I've had personal thoughts about that too. I'm like, oh man, like, I got to really think about job security. Like, is this really smart to kind of just dilute the information? But then again, there's like in the past 5, 10 years, there's been probably 5 to 10,000 mobile game studios that popped up.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at an industry like China, right? Like their gaming industry is bigger than the United States. It's insane.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Film
I mean,
industry as well. I mean, look at the films. Look what films are made in Hollywood, and majority of them are made for China.
oh wow. So you're saying that it's being financially backed by
Okay,
by
look at
foreign
how many.
investors?
So how many Transformers movies you think we're gonna still see out there?
Right, right.
Why we only see movies that are prequels or sequels of existing franchises? Because they sell, and they sell mostly in China. It's kind of interesting. So for
Oh
instance,
wow. Yeah. Hmm.
you have Warcraft movie, for instance, right, which
Mm-hmm.
flopped hard in
Here.
U.S.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I heard I
it
heard
was a
heard it did really
disaster.
well. I heard it did well in China though, right?
Oh yeah, they made like $700 million in China alone.
What?
Yeah, or even more than that at this point. I don't even know.
That's nuts.
Transformers movies making are I think they're making majority of their sales in China as well.
Wow.
It's insane, dude. Like the amount of money that um, movies are making, games as well, man. Like look at
Well, you look at Riot. Riot's owned
yeah,
by Tencent, and
it's China.
it's China. And then you look at Activision. That's 40% of that is owned by Tencent, right?
That's so
So
crazy, isn't it?
it's like a huge industry shift. And I mean, I don't know how it works for like Hollywood, because we still have Disney, Paramount, Universal, DreamWorks, but I feel that maybe the American market is fairly saturated, for films.
Right.
But maybe that shift is going more international. Um, yeah, it is going to be interesting. I think we're going to just see more and more shifts more and more changes in the next like 5, 10 years.
Yeah, let me. I'm trying to find Chinese box office, but like for 2016, let's say.
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, just as an educator, because you've been
Right.
teaching for a while. You run your own school. James and I, we run brainstorm, and obviously, I think we've always had the intention of like, get in get into the industry, learn as much as we can, and eventually we want to retire as instructors. There's one thing that James has always told me, and it's always stuck with me, and I've probably heard this from a lot of other artists as well. So if I don't give credit to them, like I do apologize. It's the concept of a shelf life, and that never really occurred to me until I started working, and I had no idea what the fuck that meant. I was like, what is a shelf life? And and I guess it kind of speaks more in terms of like how current you are as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
before you're not relevant anymore. And that's not necessarily speaking on terms of like technique. It's just more like, design taste,
Right.
you know? I don't know.
Depends. I think it
Yeah.
depends. Like what you do and how you do and how you progress. Like there's
Yeah.
so many things that uh, change over time. There, it's an interesting topic because obviously, like if you just stick around your same self, right, and you don't
Yeah.
do anything past that, then you're gonna have the shelf life specifically for some industries,
Oh yeah.
and you can see
Yeah.
that like a good example is films, right? Like how
Yeah.
many artists don't work in film anymore because they just never progressed. Like not just
Right,
from
right.
technical point of view, just like making the same thing over and over again.
Right, right.
Okay, I found those numbers. Okay, Warcraft made 1.5 billion in China alone.
What?
Dude, Furious
Dude,
7,
that's insane.
Furious 7 is the last one, right? No, the
Of
Fate of the Furious, right? It's the
Oh
last
yeah,
one.
of yeah, Fast and
That
Furious
made
franchise.
2.6 billion
What?
in China alone.
That US
I'm just
dollars, or are we talking about
US dollars.
what? That's insane.
It's insane. There's a Chinese movie called Wolf Warrior 2 that made 5.6 billion, dude. Oh no, it's yuan. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
I thought it was
yeah,
like dollars. Oh,
yeah.
what?
Okay, okay.
How
Now you're
much
gonna
is
get
you?
the real numbers, because yuan is I think it's, if you look at the current currency exchanges.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fuck me then.
I was gonna
Oh,
say, I'm like, dude, that's like bigger than
yeah.
like
Like, why would you
Avatar
show it
and
in yuan? What
Titanic
the fuck?
numbers.
Why?
Yeah,
Oh man, that's fucking. Fuck you
I was like,
guys.
I was like, damn, dude, that's insane. I was like, geez.
Yeah, that would be
That's crazy.
insane in
It's still
dollars.
it's still it's still pretty crazy. I'm sure. Like regard it's still, I'm sure it's still like fucking amazing. Um, wow, man, that's nuts. One thing I started getting into, with Anise, Nick Gendro. Like I have to thank those guys because they kind of kickstarted it at our studio. Was VR. So it was me, Jonathan Bach, um, Finian McManus, Nick Gendro, Seifel. Um, we've been using VR to kind of do some designs,
Mm-hmm.
and holy shit, man, like, dude, that is the future. Like now, I'm looking at Jama, and I'm like, you must be sent from the future, because what you're doing, you're so fucking ahead. It's insane, dude.
He's way ahead of the curve, man.
Yeah,
It's
I,
insane
I
what he's doing.
I get that, like, a lot of the programs might still feel kind of, it's still in its early phases, and it might, some
What did you
people might feel
dabble
like,
with so far?
I've been going pretty hard with Gravity Sketch,
Okay.
because Seifel, Anise, and Nick Gendro they kind of started that first, and me and Jonathan Bach, we kind of got on afterwards, and we're like, oh my God, dude, it's such a great design tool.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, and for me, I'm like horrible at 3D, and so I've always struggled with navigating the software, but like when I just went into VR, like I felt so
So easy, right?
comfortable. It was so like natural. It was insane. Um, And like I'm really excited about VR. That's gonna be a fucking game changer in the next 5, 10 years, like
Oh yeah,
easily.
definitely.
Yeah.
I've tried um I just installed Gravity Sketch actually on my PC last week. I haven't fucking had time to actually try it,
Dude,
but
you will fucking love it, dude.
yeah, I did like a little bit of sort of like shape forming with
Uh-huh.
curves. You
Yeah.
can create those planes with just, moving your fucking thing, your joysticks
Yeah.
around the space. It's pretty fucking insane. I gotta say, um, yeah, it's completely different experience. But I've tried Oculus Medium when I was at THU, and
Yeah.
for sculpting, it's like the only thing that it's missing right now is like the pressure sensitivity. I think that that alone would make it like almost complete software. But for
I
just
see.
sculpting, dude, it's so easy to sculpt with it and like get actual shapes that you understand and can work with
Dude,
versus
it's
like ZBrush or anything. With
right, right.
ZBrush, you can create. As someone told me that for form creation, Medium is awesome. For surface
Yeah.
detailing, it's pretty bad right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's considering like it's been out for a year only, right?
Yeah, it's only gonna get better. And I remember like Steve Messing, he was looking at it and he's like, man, just wait. He's like, Photoshop, when Photoshop was first out, it was still kind of a gimmicky digital program. Now it's like the program, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're working in this industry, you have to use it.
I remember
Like
when it came out, and I remember that we had. I was at Crytek at the time, and we
yeah.
had this artist from France that was using it to concept, and we were like, "What is this shit?" I mean, it was looking pretty cool. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like it looks like just photos, bashed together. But he was like, it was like 2.5D sort of program, but
Oh man.
you could like almost it's almost like a relief sculpting on the
Mm-hmm.
canvas, and you could relight it from different direction and add like materials, so it would, and he would create those aliens for the game, but he would like light it so it looked like a pretty cool shit, right?
Wow.
But it was like you know how for longest time, and I think it's still today, you have that when you do that ZBrush render,
Yeah.
it looked like, you can tell like, okay, this is a ZBrush render.
Right,
It
right.
had that feel to it, and
Oh, interesting.
the guy was just making them raw, I think, and we're like, oh, it's not a painting, it's not pure. What the fuck? um, but from there to today, where you have every single fucking movie made with ZBrush, you know,
Oh yeah,
it's
man.
so insane. Like the change is insane, and that's barely like what, 12 years, 11 years,
Yeah, it's
if that.
even if that. I
Yeah,
mean, it's yeah, it's gonna
times
be.
are changing. It's making me scared a little bit. But I don't know where this is all going.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the scary part about it. It's just like seeing how things are changing, how rapidly the industry is changing, and trying to react to it.
Uh-huh.
And it's so easy to fall off the tracks. But
Oh
then
yeah,
again,
man.
you think about it. It's easy to fall off, but it's also easy to pick yourself up,
Right.
especially with everything that is out right now.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad, I think. And also, um, I don't know how is the generation of today, like kids that are growing up today, they're like not even teenagers yet, but they're gonna approach and start to work in this industry very soon, right? I don't know what the mentality of that generation is, but the generation before, I think that the millennials, or
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know what's the past generation that past past that generation. I think there is something about the saturation and feel of entitlement, because like we live in the best times. Like, believe it or not, this is the best time to be on Earth.
Right.
Even looking 50 years ago, it's still better to be now than 50 years ago or 20 years ago. No
Sure,
matter
sure.
how hard you're gonna, argue that there was this and that. No, no, no. Like, from the health point of view, from the nutrition point of view. I mean, with all the problems that the world has, uh, no joke, it's the best time to be on Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, even if you're born in the third world country, like, if- just again, I don't live there. I have never experienced that, right? But looking at statistics, worldwide statistics from like UNESCO and all of those, um, companies that deal with the data, it's better than it ever been before. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so there's something about having like this cushion, or having it easier, that makes you compliant and not try hard enough. And it really takes a character
Oh,
to
right,
step
right.
out from that conundrum and just get something out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like when you look at the kids today, not all of them, but looking at the atmosphere in colleges, like how I fucking read this article that students came out and started protesting because they were triggered by the fact that they were having grades for the exam. So the one of the I can't remember which school was that, but they wanted to change so that when you get an exam, you can grade it yourself, something like that, something in that realm. And they're like upset that you get actual grades for the knowledge that you're supposed to be examined for.
What the hell? Interesting.
Right? Right. So it kind of
That is
tells you
bizarre.
about, you know, psyche of people. Like, and looking at the parenting as well, like how parenting is done today. Like you
Right.
get all those rules, like don't do this, don't let your kid go to park, don't like fucking everyone is telling you what not to do with kid. I remember when I was growing up, I would fucking step out of the house and no one would even notice.
Yeah, I
And I was
remember
just lucky enough
that.
I was not kidnapped.
Yeah.
But nobody would care. Like nobody would give a fuck about a lot of things.
Yeah, that's
Life was
true.
just different than
It was
before,
different.
and we came out fine, I guess. So,
Yeah, yeah. Oh man,
um, but
that
my
is gonna
point
be a
is,
trip.
like I think when it's easier, when it's easier to do something, like when it's easier to learn things, it's hard. Also it's easier to be compliant and not really try harder or try hard
Right,
enough. You know.
right.
Um,
I mean, I have, yeah, I,
I mean, look at the body of students, right? You have a lot of students at Brainstorm,
yeah, yeah,
and you had students before when you were doing other, teaching endeavors.
yeah.
I think it, outside of like art center where you're in debt for like $150,000 or something by the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it motivates you to actually, you know what? I'm spending so much money. I better fucking do good. Um, uh, you know, outside of those areas, how many, like percentage wise, how many students you think were actually after finishing the courses were actually taking something home and getting better with it?
I
10% at
mean,
max?
yeah, maybe
Like
if at
5?
max, yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not it's definitely not a high success, or high percentage.
And that's like an intense learning, right? That's
Yeah,
where
yeah, it
you're
is.
actually committing to something and you want to learn something out of it. And
Yeah,
look, it's working because you have those 5%. It's not about talent, it's about commitment, right?
right, right.
It
It
just tells
is.
you how many people are actually committing to things. It's a matter of I guess it's a matter of nurture, like when you grow up, what kind of environment you grew up in. Like
Yeah,
for instance, I grew up in an environment where I had no money and I would fucking clean toilets and look at shit every day. So I knew that was my reality,
yeah,
and I want to get out of it at all costs. So for me, it was easy to be motivated.
yeah. I mean, you definitely have a different background from other people, and I've met students and friends and classmates who had such strong willpower to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think, you know, one thing that I feel that it's, as instructors or as educators, our responsibility is to remind students to make sure that they have a strong motivation,
right.
because I think it's easy to kind of become complacent and like just, kind of just cry about it and just try to find the easy way out. But I remember when I some of the best instructors that I had at Art Center, they challenged us not only artistically but just like like our beliefs. They're like, why are you here? Like, why don't you just go home? Like, you don't, it seems like you don't want this. Like, what is the reason why you are here?
Yeah.
And it was more like these life lessons that got ingrained into who I am today. I feel like they're kind of like my pillars. um and they constantly remind me of like, you know why is it important to work hard? Like, if I'm not somewhere that I want to be, like, am I doing anything? Am I going to do anything about it?
Right.
Instead of just sitting here like bitching about it, like, am I going to do something about it? And like, I had those teachers that really helped kind of ingrain that into me. But again, ultimately, it was still up to me as an individual to really use that as fuel to
Yeah.
push myself and not get discouraged by it. So, um,
But you find yourself in a rut every now and then, right?
oh, dude, hell yeah, man, of course.
I cannot tell because you're fucking sketching all the time and it's awesome. So,
No, dude, some of these sketches that I do, and I know how it looks like on Facebook. It's kind of like how anything looks like without
any
really
context.
being there. Yeah, any context. It just looks like I'm having a good old time, and I'm like, yeah, look at me, like fucking like warm up sketches. I feel good. Where are you at? You suck. It's not even that, dude. It's like I have to force myself to do this, and sometimes like I actually, if Nick Gendro and Jonathan Bruvy and Jonathan Bach and Sci-Fi are listening, it's like we created this like fucking really awesome habit, and it's become kind of this vicious cycle where if one of us sketches, the other, like, we start to kind of pressure ourselves,
I
and
hate that, dude.
it's fucking like bad, but it's great at the same time.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I already thinking about it. I'm already tired.
yeah, I know. Because I get home and I'm like, fuck, dude, I want to turn on Netflix and I want to watch Friends or Stranger Things and just fall asleep. But no, because if I wake up in the morning, like, one of these guys, they're gonna be doing a sketch, whoever it is. Like, it might be one of my Facebook friends, like Lixin, or like, or it might be Greg Rutowski. Like, those guys are
Yeah.
just slaying it, dude. And so when I see their stuff, there's like a moment of depression. I'm like, ah, damn. So you gotta serve it right back, dude.
Move your
It's,
ass, man. Move your
I
ass. Do
know.
something.
It's like this weird. It's a healthy competition, and I thoroughly enjoy that because I think that's kind of what makes our art community cool, because we just keep pushing it.
Yeah, definitely. The only problem that I see is like you want to do that, but then you also like fuck. I want to do this. I want to learn that. It's like, where do I go with this all? Like you're
All
trying
right.
trying to juggle learning, work, family, everything. It just becomes like fuck. There's so much of it. How do I force myself to actually be productive?
Oh
And you know
man.
what?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, past couple of months where I just made it very easy on myself and focus on other things,
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret. I mean, I feel like not feel like shit. I feel like, oh my god, I'm losing my mind. I should fucking paint or do something.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like so guilty not doing those things, and I feel like almost like I fell off a train for whatever reason. I don't know why I feel that way because I know I can pick it up
Ah, man.
anytime and,
You're
and do it.
Yeah, you're probably being like, self-critical. Like, we're like our worst critiques, right? So we
I
we
know what it
probably.
is. I think I know what it is. You know when you go on vacation and you feel like the laziest person on earth,
Oh, dude,
but you
yeah.
know you deserve not you know you deserve to be lazy,
Yeah.
but you feel like the laziest piece of shit ever.
Well, you know what it might be is just that you've kind of been grinding, and you've been like at this thing,
You're wired for
like
it.
you're wired for it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny, like when I see like uh like guys like Steve Messing. He's in my books, like, he's like one of the like the best, dude. Like, I've like, when it comes to just being versatile, like fucking matte painting, concept, 3D, like, this guy can do it all.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just like, man, like, when he's taking a break, he's doing other shit. It's like insane. Like, that's why he's a one of a kind. And people ask me, like, man, what does it take to be, someone like, what does it take to be that good? It's just don't be don't be a little kid about it. Like like whatever time you have to work. You're just working. Even when you're not working, you're working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that guy is like I haven't seen anyone work more than that guy. Like it's insane. Like I'm curious to know what he does when he's not truly working. He's probably still working, or taking photographs or thinking about some other crazy matte painting. I don't know. But yeah, it's like it makes me feel lazy. Like even when I feel productive and I see those guys, I'm like, "Oh, damn, dude. I should probably go home and work more."
Yeah. It's just hard.
It is, man. It is.
Finding
Damn.
fucking, it's like this one big gamble, and you don't want to just become a robot.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just
dude.
need to be a human. I think it's all right
Yeah.
to take a break and just relax, and
I
not
I I,
be not be pushing yourself so much. I mean, I'm
I
looking,
agree.
I'm just looking at it from a perspective of, I don't know how I mean, look at the Aton, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Aton, when he doesn't post too often, right? He doesn't do fucking sketches every day. But when he drops it, like, everyone is just fucking losing their minds, you
Oh,
know?
dude, yeah. That guy's nuts. He's
Yeah,
nuts.
I love his work, and
Yeah.
he's super chill about working too. Um,
No, him, Nick Gendro, like all those guys, man. I'm like, what the hell? Like
dude, I
they're
had to
so
deal with those
fucking good.
guys for like a couple of years straight, man. No, it was awesome. I was the only thing I'm missing, not the only, but one of the biggest thing I'm missing from not being a Naughty Dog anymore is just
Hmm.
being with those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Hanging out with Aton and Aaron Lemonic and John Sweeney, Alex, and fucking all of those dudes. Nick is not there anymore. He's with the Lightstorm right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but that
He's
crew was the best, man. Like fuck, like it's just like, again, like as you said earlier on this podcast, just working with the right crew. Like you work with the right people, and it just makes a big change in your
oh
you know in
yeah,
your
man.
habit, in your productivity, and all of those things.
It's
So
it's nuts. Like I'm that's one thing I would miss if I ever leave is like working with, Fausto, Steve Messing, Jonathan Bach, like Nick, Seifel, Berube, Dylan Cole, Ben
yeah,
Proctor, like
the
all those
beasts.
guys. Like, yeah, they're just like that's what I'm gonna miss. Like, I don't think I'm gonna miss the work because it's just kind of it is what it is. But like that's something that I'm gonna feel it. I'm gonna be like, oh man. But yeah, man,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
we've been going at it for over an hour now, an hour and a half almost.
Do you ever answer questions or like is this just kind of like
Yeah, I want to
open
actually
forum
switch to
or
that. Yeah, it's open forum. I mean, people have been asking questions. I'll just jump into that, I guess.
sure,
I mean, we've
sure.
covered like all of the topics, and hopefully we'll be back on this podcast soon again. So
Yeah, man. I'll be more than
you're
happy
always
to.
welcome. You're always welcome. You can even co-host with me anytime you
Dude,
want.
let's
So
let's let's do it.
I
That'd be
gonna I
awesome.
gonna do one with George Hall very soon.
Oh, dude, I'm such a huge fan of his work, man.
Yeah,
Like
he's a fucking awesome dude
those
too.
guys are gangsters. George Hall, Ryan Church, Eric Tiemans, like like James Klein, like all those guys, man. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
beasts,
holy
absolute
crap,
beasts,
dude.
man.
Yeah, they're insane.
All right, motherfucker. Let's jump into some questions. There was quite a few. Are you gonna offer brainstorm courses online?
Um, yes. The short answer to that is yes. Right now, James Pake and I, we're trying to focus on the physical classes because we are a physical school. But online classes will they'll most likely kick off sometime next year. But we
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure, all of the physical classes are like 110%, perfected.
Yeah.
So and when it comes to online classes, I'm gonna be knocking at your door, Mache, because you do it the best. Like I don't know anyone that does it as good as you do. So
It's all me.
Um,
It's all me, man. It's all in my brain. Fuck the other
dude,
guys. I
that's all.
made it. I made it all myself. What courses specifically would you recommend at Brainstorm School for a person who has experience in digital illustration but lacks of concept design?
I would recommend our form language class just because it really gets into the mindset of, creativity and just thinking about design on paper.
Right.
I think there's so much good stuff out there for painting and illustrating, but it's very few where I see good ideas, and I think I know that this class facilitates just idea generating, and so that's what that class is about. It's called form language, or the uh, the code name for that class is called 81. But
Cool.
yeah,
Cool.
man.
Yeah, you just go on the brainstormschool.com and you will find it there.
Yeah, yeah,
You
definitely,
will
definitely
find it
check us
there.
out.
Yeah, check them out.
I know it's hard for a lot of guys. Like, I know I get a lot of friends and uh, you know, artists asking me like, "Oh man, you guys are only in California. It's like it's so, like it's hard for us to, move out there." And I know it sucks. We're trying to figure
Therefore,
out
go on
figure out a way.
learnsquared.com.
I seriously, yeah, like honestly, you guys should like go to Learn Squared. I recommend my students, like, after you get up to a certain point, like, do learn from Mache, learn from the guys that are, teaching on Learn Squared. I mean, there's like so many good classes, like your class, Jama's, like it's too good. And I always say this, like, design your own curriculum. Don't just don't feel obligated to stick to one school. Like, I say, take classes at Brainstorm, CDA, Learn Squared,
Yeah.
CGMA. Like, you gotta go cherry pick it. Do take classes that work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Try brainstorm if you can make it there. Come to us. We'll welcome you with open hands. All right. There was another question. Do you use your Painterly Schmidt, Richard Schmidt like style for client work or just
Yeah,
personal
actually,
work?
shit, let me see if I can pull up.
I know you do. I know you do.
It's, I think, it it only happens. It just depends on like the type of project, but I was able to, you know, do this stuff for
Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet of the Apes.
Did you work with James Chinland on it?
Yeah, dude, he's amazing. He's
Yeah, he's
awesome.
awesome.
It's just different. It's different. Like,
So the first
it's.
production designer I ever worked with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he
Oh,
actually, thanks to him, I got to work with Rupert Sanders and got my role in Ghost in the Shell.
oh man, that's so badass.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with him because his like him as a designer, he had me do things in his style, and which happened to be more expressive and painterly. Um, and there's obviously like benefits. One is like it's a cool style to work in, you know.
Oh yeah,
Um, the I guess the if I were to mention any downsides, it would just be that it can tend to be too loose, for production. And so I'm obviously kind of giving the 3D modelers and the set designers a hard time because they have to interpret my brushstrokes. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They're like, "What does this mean?" Like, I'll tell you, that's a chalk brush, but they're gonna have to say like, "Is that fucking like, are those like,
Is it sand?
bleached wood, sand? Like, what is that?" So in that sense, it's not cool. But
It's funny how we think about this because like production designer, it's like it also depends what kind of production designer, but we as
right,
artists we interpret our paintings differently, and an average audience will sort of like read the painting. They're like, oh, it looks cool, and they will understand what that is. But a person that
right,
works in production, some of the design, like production, not the production designer, like set designers, some of the artists that are there to translate what they see on the painting into actual technical build, they have like a different sort of, not all of them, but I've noticed there's like a different wavelength almost happening
Mm-hmm.
in terms of understanding, and like whenever you can basically answer all the questions in the painting, that's when they feel the happiest. But that might not make for the best painting, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's one of the biggest learning experiences I've had working with Dylan Cole and Ben Proctor is that they push both sides. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, like Dylan
I
is
saw some of that
insane.
stuff you
It's
guys are doing there.
it's insane.
Yeah, it's my brain
Like
hurts.
it, my brain still hurts, because I'm just like, what? Oh my God. Like, I mean, they're solving problems on like just beyond, just an
Yeah,
image.
yeah,
They're trying to think about the materials, the design, the engineering, and it just helps with the pipeline. And maybe it's just because the movie that Avatar is purely a digital movie,
yeah,
but they're insane. And I would have like yeah like I can't wait to share the body of work that we've generated. I don't know, maybe in 2025 or something, but um, like it like my brain at the time doing that kind of stuff, it's beyond just a brushstroke. It's
yeah,
not about just like a pretty aesthetic. It was really thinking about layout, functionality, materials, and composition, and like just everything together. And you're like, is this thing, can you actually build it,
yeah, yeah,
um so yeah, man, I don't know. It's like I feel like when I work with different production designers, there's like a different style that I get to experience, and I really enjoy that aspect, because it hasn't been the same with each project. It's always been different.
yeah. Do you have that stress when it comes when you start working and it's a production designer you never worked with, and you're like, fuck, like
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
to impress.
Well, it's like dating,
Yeah,
it's like you're trying to get to know them, and I always kind of go and I'm like, just give me a chance, I'm like, I tell them like, give me one weekend, and if I suck, you can fire me. If I don't suck, give me another weekend, like give me one more week, and I think
yeah,
I learned like like under promise over deliver, right? I mean, everyone's heard that saying before, under
yeah, yeah,
promise over deliver. So you give it your all because you really want to get that trust. You want to really make sure and let them know that, hey, I can deliver. I'm not here to just get a job from you and that's it.
yeah,
But you really want to be able to deliver the goods and just build a good relationship.
yeah.
So
How do you convince your Asian parents that you don't need a degree in this industry?
fuck, man. Okay, so in this industry, Asian people are very, they look at things in a monetary value. They do. That's just, if there's other Asians out there listening to this, and if you're offended, I'm sorry, but that's just my personal experience. I say that this industry functions without a degree. It functions based on performance, which is a portfolio. So
Yeah,
if you have a good
most
portfolio, you get
most industries
most
operate that
industry.
way. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, unless you're like, if you're like a doctor, then, you're not going to have a portfolio of like your surgeries. You're not going to be like, look at my stitching job. But for art, like, yeah, dude, like, I mean, it's like playing sports, it's like, you didn't know if Kobe Bryant or LeBron James or Michael Jordan, like, you don't care if they did well in school. You care if they can play the game,
yeah,
and you care if they can be team players too. And so I feel that this industry is similar in that sense. It's skill based, so you got to really show that you have the knowledge. I think where it's important to have a degree is if you want to work abroad or work in a different country, then that's a requirement. Um,
yeah. It's only because of the political reasons. It's like
yeah,
outdated system of visa and
yeah,
whatnot that just forces you to do that. But honestly, you don't have to. Like, I don't have a degree. I am here on a green card, So it's just a matter of where you're gonna put your chips in. Like, if you can you can get a degree, it's gonna be easier to get to US, for instance, right?
right, right,
But if you're fucking killing it and you're doing it for a couple of years, that counts into your experience as well. There's different ways to get here. You can get here by being just excellent at what you do. If
oh
you
wow,
really want to
yeah,
be here, yeah, like I have this there's an episode, if you go to the archive of Arcafe, there's an episode that I did with Alex Neonakis and the lawyer. Fucking, I always forget the lawyer's name because you know, I don't know him personally. He was
Yeah,
one of my guests. Fucking, I should fucking search for it. I'm so embarrassed right now.
it's all good.
Let's just agree that I suck at names. But there's an episode about how to get into US and how to get a
Uh-huh.
visa, and we go into full details. You don't need necessarily need a degree, but it makes things significantly easier.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's actually really informative. I mean, yeah, I blank on that question because I never had to go through that process. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of friends and artists that I meet that are trying to crack that code. Like how do I get into the United States, or to get situated here is I heard it's like a logistical nightmare. So I'll definitely refer them to your podcast session on that. So I think that's massively helpful.
Yeah, 100%,
So
dude. How do you refill your energy?
yeah.
If you find an answer, dude, we'll listen.
Oh, are you asking me a question on
Yeah, that
that?
was a question someone
Oh
asked.
shit. I was just like, yeah. Uh, man, I don't know. One thing, I like, Mache, you and I, we're both parents,
Yeah.
I would say we're early parents. But well, our kids, they wake up at a certain time. Um, I try to
They
wake up
force you
like,
to wake up.
yeah, dude, fuck, man. I actually try to wake up, you know, 2 to 3 hours before my kid wakes up or my wife wakes up, because that's when I have my time. You know what I mean? And I
Oh,
have to squeeze as much stuff
what is that?
as I
5 a.m.
want.
for you?
It's 6 a.m., dude. Like 6, 7.
Oh, you're
I get like
lucky.
7
Two
a.m.
hours, 2 hours before 6 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, man.
You're lucky.
Yeah. So my daughter, luckily she sleeps in. So
You're
she
lucky.
she wakes up at like 9:30, 10. So I'm like, dude, I can get a solid 4 hours
Oh,
if I
dude,
wake
you're
up at
so
6.
fucking lucky. Oh my god, I'm so jealous right now. If it's 8 a.m. for me, that's
You
that's
know
an
what you have to do?
amazing day.
You have to just keep your daughter awake, man. Like if she falls asleep, like you turn on
Oh,
Elmo,
you
you're
mean
like,
you mean what?
shake
Like
her, shake
past
her.
10 p.m.?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My daughter, she sleeps pretty late. She sleeps at like 11,
I'm
sometimes
trying
12.
to figure out how to get her to sleep past 10 p.m. Not how to get her awake.
Oh, really? What what the hell, dude?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus,
It's
man.
that age.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, sometimes my daughter, she won't sleep until like 1 in the morning. It's like very scary. I'm like, "Oh, dude, this is
Yeah,
not
kids
good."
can be scary.
Yeah.
And then when they do that and they wake up early, they're like they when they don't want to sleep and they don't sleep till like very late, then it's very difficult for them to fall asleep as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
becomes like a nightmare.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Lesson learned. If you're an artist, don't get kids.
Yeah.
um
All right, man.
Let me
Should we
see.
do like one
One
more
more.
question or
Yeah, one
something?
more question and
All right.
then we'll. Oh, Eitan dropped in.
Oh, snap. What up, A-Town?
Um, do you know any directors who comes from the concept art background? Directors specifically. I know a couple of production
Chris?
designers, right? We know a couple of production designers that used to be concept
Yeah.
artists. I don't think they're directors. I don't know any, at
Um,
least. Do you know any?
maybe Patrick Tatopoulos?
Hmm.
I think he was a character. I might be wrong. I
Oh
should
no,
look
I
this
think
stuff
I
up.
know. I know a guy. Fuck. What was his name? Let me see. Gary Shore. He used to be a concept artist, I think.
Oh,
From what I
cool.
remember, he directed Dracula Untold.
Actually, Patrick Tatopoulos used to be a creature designer on like 10,000 BC, I Am Legend, Silent Hill, even Underworld series, and now I think I heard he was directing a movie, but I might be wrong. I don't know, but Yeah, he's a giant in the film industry as well.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and he's
think I
production
think
designer.
Gary was used to be a concept artist. I think
Oh,
so,
really?
but I might be wrong. I've heard about it somewhere. I
Yeah.
worked with him briefly on Dracula film, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. There's not that many, dude. There's not that many directors specifically who. I mean, maybe like short film directors or, indie films. That yeah, obviously there's quite a few, but I know there's like a lot of VFX guys that
Mm-hmm.
became directors. There's a lot of
Right.
concept artists that became production designers, like Ben Proctor or Dylan Cole or Darren Guilford, right?
Right. Right.
Those just to name a few. But directors specifically, I don't know, man. I
Yeah,
don't
those
know.
guys, I would say those guys are like super production designers because they can, you know, paint and design better than their own crew. So that's kind of unfair. But yeah. Um yeah, I don't know if there's any like at the top of my head, I don't know if there's any artists that became directors. I guess more currently, I have friends that are working towards that direction. Like Anis, Naeem, and Saiful, like those guys
Mm-hmm.
are talented as shit, man. Like they're gonna direct a movie in the next 5 years. Like I know it.
Yeah,
Um,
Anis is doing his own, mini directorial, stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, dude,
same thing with Ash. I
he's
mean, Ash is fucking directing his own films, his own
yeah,
short
yeah,
films, so he is technically a director.
yeah, man. It's amazing. I'm blown away by those guys, because they're able to kind of take what they learn or what they've practiced in their profession and apply it into directing, and they just get more knowledge, and they have a keen sensibility, so it's like, dude, more power to them.
Yeah.
Actually, shit, I'm sorry, dude. There is one friend, Anthony Leonardi. He's a friend of mine that I had a chance to work with on Lone Ranger. um
Okay.
he's a director. He's directed some films, but I think mainly he started off doing commercial directing. And I believe he's now directing movies.
Yeah.
So,
Andre Wallen. Um, Someone mentioned. Yeah, he's transitioning into directing for sure,
oh
making
wow,
his
dude, I
own
love
stuff.
that guy's work, man. He's
Yeah,
so
his
good.
work is awesome.
He's so good.
Neil
Jeez, dude.
Blomkamp used to be 3D artist. That's true. Dude,
Damn.
James Cameron did his own fucking sketches. So did Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott comes from the art background as well. I actually He shown me some of his paintings that he's doing now. It's like, wow, dude, you're an actual painter.
Dude,
It's so
or
insane.
I guess Miyazaki,
Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah, yeah.
shit.
True. Like the
Dude,
Japanese
the
guys,
legend.
right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
legend himself.
Miyazaki or fucking okay, Otomo.
Otomo, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Otomo. It's like the perfect example
Yeah.
of an illustrator that just became a director because he directed his own animes. So
Yeah.
for sure, yeah. Like we saw like if for people that are tuning in and listening to this, they're like, oh my god, those ignorant fucks.
I know, dude. We're like, who
Fuck
else?
it,
Oh
fuck
yeah,
it,
this guy?
dude.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Jeez.
There's only so much you can remember in your brain. Like there's
Yeah.
I guess there's a storage limit. Dude, Bobby Chu. I had him on the fucking podcast and he did his own TV show, right? I don't know if he's directed it though.
Dude, that guy is like a super saiyan. I don't know how he does it
Yeah,
either. He's
he's crazy.
he's insane. He's
Yeah,
insane.
I feel like shit right now. I feel like I've been so unproductive. I need to do something with it.
Nah, man, you're fine, dude. You deserve a break, man. I wanna go curl up on my couch and watch like 5 episodes of Friends,
Do it.
and finish the last episode of Stranger Things.
Yeah, how do you like that? How do you like that one? There's I think it's like a good entertainment, but I'm not necessarily sold on like the hype around the Stranger Things overall.
Um,
To me, it feels like a mix of 80s movies that is,
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not too cohesive at places.
Yeah, I mean, it has kind of that nostalgia, feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watch it for what it is. You know, I
Yeah.
try not to dig too deep because then it can become like unenjoyable.
Yeah. Oh
But
yeah, for
it's just
sure.
kind of like it's fun, and I love the characters in there, and you know, like Steve Messing, he like I saw him do a lot of matte paintings for that. I think like probably over 50. So like just to see it on screen, I'm like, dude, my friend worked on that shit. It's crazy. Um,
Yeah,
but
Steve Messing is a beast. I would want to know how this guy's brain operates. Like every
dude,
time I talk with him, it's
should
just like he sounds chill, but I know he's super fucking serious aggro when it comes to work. So
he no he's a very he's very disciplined. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
that's what
like
I'm talking about. It's
yeah
just like
he just
no
gets into it.
no
No,
mistakes, no
he's
surrender,
yeah
fucking
he's super
grind through
chill.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah, but when he works, he's just like he's like a sniper. He's just like I'm just gonna get into it.
yeah.
But yeah, man. Well, we should definitely you know link up and
Oh yeah, we need to.
get some dinner sometime.
Let's not making a point where we're gonna link up and that's
Yeah,
where it ends.
yeah, and then we'll do another podcast from a year now, and we'll
A
say
year
the
from now.
same damn thing.
You
Yeah,
know, it's
let's link up,
funny.
dude.
I was doing exactly same thing with David Levy,
Oh,
and
really?
then I met him at THU. That's when we actually hung out,
Oh shit,
and
that's
we were
awesome.
talking about this topic. Like, dude, we're actually neighbors, and we never fucking had time to talk. And now
Dude,
we're like across the world, and we're hanging out. It's
that's
so weird.
oh
Yeah,
man.
I
I
think we just all get caught up with our own stuff, you know,
yeah, yeah.
or our
Yeah,
own
no,
lives.
totally. I miss working with David. He was like just so much like good vibes from that guy, man. And
Yeah,
he is by
he's
far
awesome.
like the most experimental artist. Like he would come into work like super jazzed about like some new brush or new texture he made, and I'm just like, holy shit. And you know, you get excited too for no reason. You're like, yeah, man, let's do it. I want to see you do this thing. And he's like, I know I have this new technique. It's so good. And I'm like, damn,
Oh,
dude.
you can make his voice. That's awesome.
Oh, dude, I practice, man, because my commute's 2 hours a day, so I practice his voice. Hello, hello, honey bun. Yeah, David's awesome, man. I miss
Yeah,
that guy.
David's rad.
Yeah,
We had a blast at THU, man. That was fun. That was
man,
fun. I wish you were there.
I gotta go to one of those events one day.
Oh, yeah, it's magical,
Oh,
man. Like
damn.
everything you hear about it, it's I guess it's because it's so isolated and you're
Uh-huh.
there. Like you're there for like 7 8 days and there's nothing else you can do but just be around artists because cause just isolated.
Right.
You just cannot go unless you leave the island or the peninsula, which takes time. It takes effort.
Oh, wow.
You actually have to
Yeah.
plan for it because you have to let it take like a fair. And
Really?
yeah, yeah.
Wow,
I
that's
think that
crazy.
was the last one in Troy. I think they're making it the next one. They're gonna make somewhere else. But it's probably gonna be isolated as well. So like, hey, I want to visit some places. Oh yeah, it's gonna take you a whole day to do that if you want to
Yeah.
do that. So
Oh man,
um,
that's cool.
but
Well,
dude, it was
I'll
so
definitely
well
try to make it
organized.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
definitely a
definitely.
magical thing. So,
Damn, that's cool, man.
anyways, dude, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure.
We've been
Dude,
talking for a
thanks so
long
much
time.
for setting this up, Mache. You know, and
Hell yeah, brother.
dude, I
Anytime
know,
you feel like you're bored, like, oh, I would want to talk with some cool dudes and, bounce
yeah,
some ideas, whatever. Let's do it. Let's do it.
dude, yeah, for sure, man. Awesome.
I'll be streaming this Thursday. I was supposed to stream last Thursday, but then all of a sudden I actually had to wrap two works,
Mm-hmm.
two jobs. So I wasn't,
You're
but
crazy,
I'll
man.
definitely be this Thursday because I have
Yeah,
nothing to do this week
yeah.
for once.
Awesome.
So I'll be this Thursday on Twitch stream for Learn Squared, so you guys can see me there. I'll definitely talk about some topics. Um,
Sweet.
and yeah, thanks for joining
Sweet,
me
man.
today. I think George Hall is gonna be in the next one.
Yeah,
Um,
I gotta tune in on that.
but I
I'm
need to
gonna,
talk with him. It's obviously all of those are inconvenience to the artists that are guests. So I just need to find where it's a good time for them that
right,
aligns
right,
with my schedule. And when that happens, then we have an episode. So
right.
yeah, so that's that. Guys, thanks for joining us today. There
Awesome.
was a huge audience today, dude. You're
Wow, man,
definitely
dude.
pulling in some audience. So,
No, man. I mean,
thanks for
maybe
joining.
because it's late and everyone, all their kids are sleeping. So.
I'll tell you that the late streams usually are not. There's not that many people watching because usually,
Well,
like,
thanks.
if
I
you
mean,
do it,
thanks
if
for
you're doing
everyone.
it, if I would do it midday, it would be more people. I'm pretty sure. I guess it just
Oh, I
works for
see.
if you're on the East Coast, it's already like 3 a.m.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Damn. That
for
is
East
really
Coast it
late.
sucks. For Europe, it's like very early in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah. So thanks gang for joining
Yeah,
today. Thanks for
thank you,
being
man.
here. If you guys fucking love what I do and you want to you want me to continue doing this, press that like button. No, joking. But you can always subscribe if you like it. If not, then fuck off. No, joking. Anyways, thanks for being here, guys, and
All right.
I will see you next time. And I'll see you on Thursday, obviously on Twitch
Cool.
stream. So
All right, man. Sounds
peace.
good.
Bye bye.
Later. Thanks, man.